Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and since I have been recording a bunch of rankings in terms of Thunderbolts and the MCU, I am going to do my Phase 5 ranking. Now, so, just letting you guys know, Daredevil Born Again is not on this list. Because, while I am including TV shows, I have 3 more episodes to go until I finish all of it. And then I will have a review of it, I promise you. But no, I've been very slow on the MCU this year. The only one that I saw in theaters this year was Captain America Brave New World, because it was my most anticipated Marvel movie of the year. And I really want to talk about some of the other stuff I've watched for the first time. I will do full reviews leading up to Doomsday next year. That I should be hopefully staying up soon. But yeah, no, we're going to get into it and get this started. So, let's go. So, at number 11, we have Secret Invasion. This show was a complete shit show. This was one of those things where, like, the first episode, it was okay. The second episode was okay. But I wasn't going like, oh my god, I want to watch the rest of it. And I haven't heard good things of it since. I've heard it went downhill. So I just kind of gave up on it. And like, especially since the end of it, like Nick Fury gets called to go into space, and in the Marvels, we totally see a different side Nick Fury after Secret Invasion, which Secret Invasion you would think that he would be more of a badass, but in the Marvels he is more goofy and more fun and stuff like that. So yeah, I just kind of gave up on Secret Invasion in general, because I was like, well, what's the point, you know? So that's at number 11. Now at number 10 we have Echo. This was one of those shows that I was told by Luke that this show is fantastic. And it's one of his favourite Marvel projects in recent years. And I was like, okay, alright, I'll check it out. And I heard he was the only person that gave me a positive review of it. Or like, general idea of it. All the rest I've heard was terrible. So, I was like, okay. I mean, at least we're going to see Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, and maybe even Charlie Cox as Daredevil in this. And I watch it, I'm like, okay, I really liked the first episode. I love seeing Charlie Cox return as Daredevil again. I love seeing Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin again, and building his relationship up with Maya after the whole Hawkeye thing and stuff like that. But I feel like that the fight scenes were really cool, the way that they were able to, because, again, you're dealing with a deaf character, so she can't hear anything, so you hear this weird, like, siren kind of noise. It's like the Batman 66, siren villain. Like, you hear that when you are in Maya's perspective, and you just hear nothing while she's fighting. And I think that was really cool. I think that was a unique way to do a fight. And things like that. And I think that some of the characters were really cool, like getting introduced to her family and things like that. And so she can go on this adventure with her family and make sure that her family teams up with her to take down Kingpin and stuff like that. But I do think that the finale was very, very weird, especially since she starts like doing like airbending, like Avatar The Last Airbender type stuff, where like she's like starts doing all this weird stuff to Kingpin and like mentally fixing him and that sort of stuff, and you're like, what is going on? And I do think that there's some interesting things in here, even though that it's the second worst thing that Phase 5's put out. It's not my least favourite thing that MCU has put out, even though it is kind of a low score, because I can find some little bits in it that I at least enjoy in it, even if it's not really that good at all. So at number 9 we have Agatha All Along. Now this was the show that was being marketed like to hell last year when I was in America. And the thing is too is that like that was airing, I think, while we were on the trip, when I was on the trip. And it was one of those things where like I was like, oh, I'm really looking forward to this show, and the fact that it was giving off like kind of Halloween vibes and it was kind of a spiritual sequel to WandaVision got me very excited. But like watching it, I was like, I'm pretty let down by this. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fact that it's not that scary, or I had so much more expectations for this show because WandaVision is my favourite MCU show. And the fact that this is like so much worse than WandaVision is crazy to me. Which is crazy because I love Agatha as a villain to Wanda. And I wanted to see more of what's going on and see how they're going to continue the storyline of WandaVision in Agatha. And I think that it was interesting having Billy return and stuff like that, and eventually going to have hopefully him in Doomsday and Secret Wars and meet up with Wanda again. But I think that there's something about Agatha All Along that I was like, this is really weird, and it's not as good as I expect it to be. Like, I expect it to be a lot more better than I thought it was going to be a lot more better than it ended up being, to be honest. And it's one of those shows where I'm like, this is not really that great. I don't know why everyone's hyping up, going like, oh, this is one of the best Marvel TV shows ever. It's like, no, it's very, very good, but it's not fantastic to me. So yeah, I feel like Agatha All Along has good things in it. It's more watchable to me than Echo, but I do think it's nothing really that special. Number 8 is Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, this is one of those movies that it got a little worse watching it again. Like, it's one of those ones where, like, when it first came out, I gave it an 8 out of 10, which now will give it a 7 out of 10. It's one of those ones where it's like, it's not as good as I remember it being, but it's not as bad as people think. Like, I think that the comedy really, really hits. I think the action's really, really good. I think that Kane is a really, really good villain that they only, like, pushed to a side because of the Jonathan Majors thing. But I do think that there's some interesting things in Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania. I think that Catherine Newton does a great job as Cassie. I think that Paul Rudd is still incredible as Scott Lang Ant-Man. I still think that Evangeline Lilly is fantastic as Wasp. And I love their relationship, and I love the soundtrack they were using for this movie, like the Elton John Yellow Brick Road and the Welcome Back song at the beginning of the movie. I think that there's a lot of good things that this movie was trying to set up with the Multiverse Saga. I do think that it was one of those ones where, like, because you gotta remember too that, like, originally Avengers 5 was meant to be the Kang Dynasty. But I really honestly think that the whole thing of them going like, oh, yeah, let's use Kane in Loki, but let's not use him in anything else because I don't think he's going to be that interesting of a villain. So they use him in Loki, got great response in Loki, and then they put him as the main villain in Quantumania, and everyone loved Jonathan Majors' performance, but Marvel still wasn't sold on him, so they killed him off, but they set up the Council of Kanes, which I will not be surprised if RDJ's Doom will obliterate all the Council of Kanes when it comes to Doomsday. I do think that that'll be the way to go, and I do think that Quantumania is really, not really good. It's on this, I mean, I prefer the first and second Ant-Man more than this one, but I do think that this one is not as bad as people say it is. Alright, number 7 to me is Captain America Brave New World. I actually really like this movie. It was the only one I saw this year, in theaters anyway, and I honestly think that this movie is really, really good. I think that Anthony Mackie does a great job as a lead. And it's kind of surprising that this made a big deal that Anthony Mackie is actually leading a movie. Especially a comic book movie. And he did an amazing job as the Falcon. And I think that after Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was the right direction to go. And I really, really liked a lot of the stuff. I think, like, if you watch my review on this movie and also my spoiler review that I did with my cousin around the time that Brave New World hit Disney Plus, I did have some small little gripes with the movie in terms of how they use Betty. Because I really think that Betty should have been a bigger deal, because they announced Liv Tyler was coming back to the MCU in Captain America 4, and then yet they only used her for like 2 scenes. Really 1 scene, but one you hear her voice. I thought that they were going to make that a way bigger of a deal, to be honest. And I think that it's one of those things where it's like, if you're going to make it more of a Hulk movie, that's fine. Have the Captain America thing in it, and then Sam Wilson like calls Bruce up, going like, "Hey Bruce, I need your help," and then he helps Sam take down Red Hulk at the end. I think that that's how you interlace the Incredible Hulk sequelness into it, because you just needed Hulk. That's the only element you were missing, because you already had Red Hulk and the Leader, 2 big things that was set up. Well, not necessarily the Red Hulk, but especially the Leader, that was set up in 2008. And then you brought back Betty. You had the recast of General Ross. So I think that there are some really, really strong things in this movie that people just overlook because they're like, oh my god, this really, really sucks. I can definitely see the Winter Soldier vibes in this movie. And it's one of those things where it's like, there are some bits where the green screen is not that great, but also it's one of those things too where like, I look at it and I'm like, I can see the second version of Winter Soldier, like the second Winter Soldier-esque movie trying to get out of here. Like, I can see it there. It looks like you have the bits and pieces for this movie to be a second version of Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and you watch it and you're like, oh god, like, that did not work so well. And that really, really hurts, because I think that this movie is really, really solid. And I think with a lot of the recent Marvel movies, except for like No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness and Love and Thunder, I think those are the only 3 that I rewatch and they don't get worse. If anything, they get better for me. A lot of the other ones I really, really like, but they somehow get a little worse, even though that I don't think that they're terrible movies. I really, really like Brave New World. I think it's really, really slept on. And yeah, and like, this really shows you how much I love the MCU, because it's my favourite film franchise of all time. It's like what my brother is like with Fast and Furious, because Fast and Furious is his favourite franchise, but the MCU is mine. I love the MCU, and even the DCEU, and in some aspects. But the MCU has done a great job with all that, with both the realism and also the fantasy aspect, dealing with all that. So, and then at number 6, I have Loki Season 2. This is one that I'm like, this is so much better than Season 1. Season 1 did kind of grow on me, rewatching it this year, but Season 2 is so much better. Like, we get thrown into the action right away, we get the questions answered of like, why does Mobius not remember Loki, because Loki went to the past, and we get the whole setup of Kane, of Loki printing the wall and the canes come out and stuff like that. Like, and I really think that the storyline for this really, really works, and it helps set up the multiverse saga from the Kane thing. And I really think that this series, especially Season 2, is going to have a huge, huge importance when it comes to Doomsday, because I think that this season of Loki is the best that we've gotten, and I really think that the God of Stories thing is such a good thing, and then makes me excited to see the reunion between Loki and Thor in Doomsday. Whether if, like, I just want to see that visual of Thor going through the Tree of Life with all that green, the green elements of the tree going around him, and he sees Loki, and then Loki just kind of has his eyes closed and looks at the camera like he's looking at Thor, and that just gives me chills thinking about. Like, I really like Loki Season 2. I think it's one of those ones where that's what basically spawned the podcast I do on my podcast channel with my cousin, was the first 2 Iron Mans and Loki Season 2. Those were the first 2 episodes that we've done. And then we did Deadpool 3 theories and that sort of stuff. But, I really like Loki Season 2. I have a lot of nostalgia. I have a lot of cool thoughts every time that I think about it. And, like, every time that I watch that, even if I don't watch the whole series, even when I just watch the finale and I see that bit of Loki going into the chair and recreating the Tree of Life, and we see all the different timelines revive, like, I'm like, oh my god, is he hot? He must be holding the 616, he must be holding the Sam Raimi Spider-Man timeline, the Amazing Spider-Man timeline, the X-Men timeline, the Ghost Rider timeline, the What If timeline, the Spider-Verse timeline, the Hulk 2003 timeline, and stuff like that. Like, the theories up the wazoo every time I see that bit of him just kind of going in there and going like that. Like, it's crazy to me. I love it. So, yeah, that's why Loki Season 2 is at my number 6. Number 5, I have The Marvels. I think that The Marvels is a lot of fun. It's basically a Saturday morning cartoon. And I think that this is one of the more inventive MCU movies where, like, not only do you have the emotional storyline of Monica and Carol, of them reuniting, but you also have the Miss Marvel storyline, and you also have such cool inventive fight scenes where, like, someone will punch someone, and then if someone punches at the same time in a different area, it makes them teleport to where that other person was. I think that is so cool and so inventive, and seeing Nick Fury interact with Miss Marvel and the family is so funny to me. And I really love how Carol Danvers is more of a character in this movie as opposed to a bland bit of wood in, like, the first movie. I prefer Brie Larson's portrayal of Carol Danvers in this movie and in Endgame so much more than in the first Captain Marvel. I think that The Marvels really nailed it in terms of the comedy. This is more of a fun MCU movie where, like, I think a lot of my 8 out of 10 movies is more of my kind of section where, like, they might not be great movies, but at least I can somewhat switch my brain off and like, watch it type of thing. And I really like how The Marvels is one of those movies where I can just go like, okay, turn my brain off and just have fun with this movie. And I really like that about The Marvels. I think that's so good. And number 4, I have X-Men 97. Yes, I was actually kind of surprised I had this high. Because like, when I watched the MCU, especially when it comes to the TV shows, some episodes got better, some episodes got a little worse. But not worse as in, like, they're bad episodes at all. Just they might not be as good as I remember. Like, I really remember liking the Goblin Queen episode. I didn't hate it this time, but I thought it went for a little too long. But I still love episode 1. The Genosha episode grew on me. What made X-Men 97 so good is that even though I love the X-Men movies with Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry, it made me go like, I give a shit about all of the X-Men. I don't just care about Wolverine, which is my favourite X-Men. Because this show gets to shove Wolverine to the sideline, which is basically what it was in the original series. If you shove him to the sideline, you get focus on Rogue, Cyclops, Jean, Storm, Gambit, Beast, Bishop, Jubilee, Morph. And it's so good, and like, seeing all of these events play out in the movie, it's like, wow, look at what Bo DeMille has done. And honestly, it makes me really concerned about Season 2, because Season 2 They've got Rev Bodemayo, they've got the showrunner who does What If, and What If, to me, I don't hate What If as much as I used to, but like, also, it's not as good as X-Men 97 at all. X-Men 97 is the best when it comes to the animated Disney Plus shows. It makes me really excited to see if they're going to do a Spider-Man 98 series, where it's basically a sequel to the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s. And it makes me really excited, and I think that X-Men 97 is one of those movies that, like, is one of those shows that I can totally see why people think that's the best thing Marvel's put out. To me, it's not, because there are movies that give me that feeling of, oh my god, this is Marvel, to me, and that's what I feel like that Marvel is kind of trying to get back to. I think, especially Doomsday, with the chair announcement, that's what the MCU is trying to be. They're trying to go like, okay, what made Marvel Marvel in the comics? It was the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man. That's basically what was the Doomsday announcement. When we got the announcement of the original X-Men cast from the original X-Men trilogy, and when we've got the first trial for the Fantastic Four, and we got the set photos for Brand New Day, like, it feels like that this is Marvel. And that is what makes X-Men 97 so special, is that it feels like a animated version of the MCU. Especially when you get into the finale and some other episodes when you have Morph turning into Hulk, turning into Mr. Fantastic. You see Captain America, Iron Man. You see Spider-Man dealing with the ramifications. You see Mary Jane, and you're like, where does she go? Are we going to get a new Spider-Man anime series that picks up after the last episode? And we see Daredevil and Doctor Strange, Black Panther, all these different characters. This is what the MCU is for all of us, and I just love that. And number 3 for me is actually the Thunderbolts, aka the New Avengers. I actually really liked this movie. I was kind of surprised how fun I had watching this movie. The only complaint I had was nothing to do with the movie, it was to do with my family. Because me and my dad were trying to watch the movie and trying to pay attention to see if there's anything we're missing and stuff like that. And my family, because we have my auntie, uncle, and cousin living with us at the moment, and they would just talk over the top of it. And we're like, shut up, we can't hear what's going on! Because my dad really doesn't like being confused in a grand universe like this, so we were trying to get them to be quiet. But the only issue I do have, and I can't get why they did it, and I didn't talk about this in my non-spoil review because I thought it was such a freaking minute thing, was that they didn't do our normal MCU credits, our normal Marvel Studios logo. But now that we think about, like, they haven't done that in well over a year? Like, I can't remember if Daredevil Born Again did it. I don't think that Born Again did. I can't remember if Agatha did. I know Deadpool and Wolverine did it, where we do the pan through the Marvel logo and we see all the characters from the different movies and stuff and pans through the Marvel logo. It didn't do it in Brave New World, it didn't do it in Thunderbolts. In Thunderbolts, it was very much like the old Marvel logo, where it was the flipping pages, but we went through the Marvel logo with flipping pages of Thunderbolts. I thought that was kind of a neat little mix between the two. But yeah, no, I really like the characters in this movie, and I really like the action. I think that this is some of the best hand-to-hand combat we've gotten since, like, Winter Soldier. And I think that a lot of the fights and the characters I actually give a shit about, which is shocking because I didn't care about Yelena. I mean, I cared about Yelena, but I didn't really love Yelena when she was introduced in Black Widow. I thought she was a little too weird for me. But when you watch Hawkeye and then Thunderbolts, you're like, wow, I actually do care about you. I really love your character. And then, of course, I love Bucky. I've loved Bucky since the very beginning. I really like Ghost. I was a big fan of Ghost in Ant-Man the Wasp, and that was one of the more underrated characters for me, where I really, really liked her, and no one else would just kind of go like, oh yeah, she is in that. And then, like, John Walker, White Russell's character, grew on me a lot, especially since I rewatched Falcon Winter Soldier earlier this year, and I was like, I'm wrong. I really, really dig this show. I thought it was complete dog crap, but no, it's really, really good. And I really, really like how they set that up, and I thought it was so good. Thought it was amazing. And how they did that was incredible. Number 2 for me is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I really, really like this movie. It was the best of that year for me. It is always tied in terms of my favourite Guardians. It's always a toss between this one and the second one for me. I really like Volume 2. I think Volume 2 is more of a quippier movie. I like the jokes that James Gunn throws in that movie. But this one is a darker, depressing movie, which I really, really like. It really, really suits the movie, and it really, really suits the farewellness to the Guardians. But I think that Guardians 3 is one of those movies that I watch it and I'm like, oh, I'm depressed. What the fuck? But yeah, no, I just watch it, I'm like, what is going on? This is ridiculous. And like, I love the Rocket storyline. The only thing I don't really like is Gamora. Which is weird, you know, because I love Gamora in the first 2 Guardians. I love her in Infinity War. I even like her in Endgame, even though that it's the same version here in Volume 3, but there was something about the way that they wrote her in Endgame and the way that Zoe played her in Endgame that was different than this one. I think it... Because, like, even though at the end you saw the whole hatred of her and Peter Quill at the end during the final battle of Endgame, you still felt that spark that was there in the first 2 Guardians. But in this one, it was completely stripped away, and I was like, what are you doing? Which I found very, very silly. I think that was a stupid decision. But the thing is too, I do blame Infinity War for that. Which is weird, because you won't have that movie. There's no way you could do that movie without having that story beat of Thanos, Sora, and Gamora for him to complete his mission. So that's fine. But yeah, no, I really, really like this movie. I think it's a great send-off to the Guardians. I think that James Gunn did an incredible job. I think that he is one of the best comic book directors to date. I love his Guardians movies. I love Superman. I need to give the Suicide Squad another watch, because I've only seen it once, and I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. I was kind of middle of the road on it. But yeah, no, like, I really like James Gunn, and I think that other than Sam Raimi to me, I prefer his comic book movies, the Spider-Man trilogy and Multiverse of Madness. And I really think that the Russo brothers have even topped James Gunn, because all of them are 9 out of 10 or better. So, yeah, but no, I really like Guardians 3. I think Guardians 3 is so good. At number 1, I have Deadpool and Wolverine. This movie was a experience. This was kind of at a point where, like, I was still at my old job when this movie came out, and I was still kind of having a rough time, especially during that week that it came out. I was having a difficult week. But then when me and my dad sat down to watch this movie in the theater, I forgot everything that happened. I loved it that much. It made me escape, and I love this movie. I find it ridiculous how people hate this movie, much like No Way Home, where you're like, what is wrong with you? And like, I watched this movie and I'm like, I love Hugh Jackman, I love Ryan Reynolds, I love the chemistry that they have, the banter that they have, and I really love the comedy. The comedy always hits with me in a Deadpool movie. I love how this is a tribute and send off to the Fox universe. I love how we got to see Channing Tatum as Gambit in this movie. I love how we got to see Wesley Snipes back. I love how we got to see Jennifer Garner back and Daphne Keane back. I really, really love Deadpool and Wolverine and those characters and the way that they did, even though that I do agree with some people that the story is not what we talk about, but it's like, the thing is too, is that like, it could be your favourite movie even though that the story's not that great. Like, not to say that this is one of my favourite movies, I mean, I definitely have some 10 out of 10 movies, a lot of 10 out of 10 movies over this, but this is around the 9 out of 10 favourite movies. My favourite movie of all time is No Way Home, and like, I really like No Way Home. Everyone complains about the story in that movie, but yet everyone forgets it because it's all, because it's the best that Tom's movies have ever been. So I really like that movie, and how they progressed Tom Holland's Spider-Man while using these characters that have been previously established. Same with this movie. That's why, honestly, I mean, I like Into the Spider-Verse, but that's why I don't love Into the Spider-Verse as much as everyone else, because if you did in a way that you had movies before it, like the Avengers, you have a few movies before it to set up each character, then you have the Spider-Verse movie the way it is, with the Miles story in the middle of it. Like, I will like it a lot more, because I actually want to give a shit about the characters and not just throw me in, coach. But yeah, no, I really like Deadpool and Wolverine. I think that's such a amazing movie, and the fact that it has already been through so many drafts as it has, it's crazy to me. But yeah, so guys, that is my ranking of the MCU Phase 5. Please, guys, hit the like button down below and hit subscribe to the little bell icon to get notified for future videos I make. And I'll see you guys next time in the next ranking. Take care. Bye.
Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.